Thunders of Wrath, Lightning the Lantern, one of my favorite local bands here in Tacoma. Yay! Finally got their music. I'm so excited. They're going to be playing at Louis G's here at the end of April, so I'm so excited. I've always go see their show, so yay! Anyway,
local music.
Yes, hello music. I'm Shells, your host, and I have a new co-host. I got Greg, also known as Spider in the Hall. So you know what? I'm just going to call you Spider for the rest of your life now.
That'll work. I'll accept that.
Okay.
I will accept it.
And I will do my best not to squash you. We were talking to Johnny Sonic. He just left, so thanks again, Johnny Sonic, for coming on the air and talk about politics, activists throughout the music. That was kind of fun, educational too.
Yep, very much. Much.
Now you have some more things that you want to talk about this topic?
Nope. Yeah. This is kind of on a little going on the side, but also with what we've been talking about. Recently, in the news, so to speak, Merle Haggard, country legend, passed on. Mm-hmm. Passed on today or yesterday. I can't remember which day exactly it was. I think it was early this morning. But he himself had a few songs that had been seen as kind of like politically active, but were actually misinterpreted. People took songs of his that sounded a certain way, and they thought, "Oh yeah, this is close to how we want to say things," and they kind of ran with it. And it's an example of how a musician might not necessarily mean to be politically active, but their music, just because of how they've written it or certain themes involved, might be turned to those kind of uses, and they might not think about it. I remember actually, when was it? I think it was during Mitt Romney's political campaign. Mm-hmm. I think he was using a song sometime during his run. If I can find a reference to it here. He had a musician that was actually upset that the musician disagreed with him, like was not on his side at all, like would never have voted for him, didn't agree with his policies. And it was interesting that he'd picked this song to represent his presidential run, and the musician didn't really want to be involved. Like, he hadn't checked with them first. And it's just funny how sometimes people can think that, oh yeah, this piece of music, this is exactly what this is me, this is what I believe in. And it's not really. It's something completely different, and it's easy to do. As far as like political activism goes, it's easy to misinterpret things and to assume that it's, oh yeah, this person is saying exactly what I want them to say, and they're really not.
Mm-hmm. Or they get you do say something along that line, and they get upset with it that you said something, and they think they're taking credit for it too. How's that happened mm-hmm. before? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same kind of thing like what happened with the Beatles. The Beatles said that they were bigger than Jesus, but they didn't mean in a way that they were better or higher than the Jesus figure. It just meant that they were more popular, which debatably could have been at the time. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But it made so many people angry. They burned their albums. They banned their concerts. All these different things over something that someone thought that they meant, and they really didn't mean it that way. And it's an example of how something isn't activism, and it can become activism, whether you want it to or not. Almost, you kind of have to just tread lightly with big topics like that.
Yeah, something like that can be like back in the 70s, can blow completely out of proportion.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, though, like Johnny Sonic mentioned, you don't want to ever feel like you're censoring yourself. You should never have to censor your beliefs on how you feel about something. So it's a tough balance between saying what you want to say and not being, pushed out or shunned or, attacked for what you're saying.
Right, exactly. Totally agree. I mean, if someone told me once before, when you say something, and even though people might get offended, don't apologize. Don't ever apologize, because it's something you believe in at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take it back. So you can apologize if you want to, but it's how you feel at that moment.
That's true. And there's so much of that kind of thing happens. Like, you might see, it doesn't happen a lot, but you'll see artists, especially, again, I always come back to the social media topic since it's such a current thing. You'll see an artist say something via Twitter or Facebook, and something really inflammatory, and then within hours they've pulled the tweet, they've pulled the Facebook post, and it's been deleted, and then they've issued an apology or something like that. And you're thinking, well, did you mean it when you say it, or were you just joking? I mean,
exactly.
And it's hard to trust people necessarily. And a musician, they're artists. You should be able to trust your artists a little bit more. And you never want to think about that. You can't trust your favorite artist. That you can't trust them not to tell you what they mean. But it almost seems like that's the environment sometimes, and politics can breed that kind of thing. Like, people, when they feel strongly about things, they almost feel like they have to sing on eggshells, so to speak.
Well, I mean, I feel bad to some of the tabloids out there who want to take works and turn them around into something that is not what the artist said at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that does happen a lot too. A lot of people will take art and music and they'll turn them into something that is really the complete opposite of what they were intended to be, and like really subverting the message involved and turning it into something like not really wholesome. And it's kind of hard to use words like wholesome and unwholesome with in regards to art, because art is supposed to kind of pull at you. It's supposed to get a reaction out of you, but sometimes the reaction that somebody wants to use for it, they take it and then they push it on other people that this is the reaction they had, and they convince all these people that this is the reaction that it's supposed to have, rather than letting them take what they want out of it and rather look at on their own merits on either a piece of art like a painting or a book or a piece of music specifically.
Or be able to choose their own words, and they are kind of like, not really brainwashed, but more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, I guess it can be like brainwashed in a way into their own that person's thinking.
And then you get into a lot of different things. Like there was the so-called satanic panic in the 70s and 80s, where supposedly all these musicians were putting messages to the devil on their vinyls, and if you played them backwards and all these things, and you start thinking about, well, this artist, maybe this is what they mean, and maybe this is what they're doing, and then you almost demonize people and make them into something much worse than really they meant to say, just because maybe you didn't agree with them to begin with, and this gives you an excuse. It's something that's might not have been there, and it gives you an excuse to be, well, see, look, I said these people were bad, and this is why, and it's not really being fair.
Totally true. Yeah. I mean, power of the word, or power of the power of the word is basically very, very dangerous. It can be dangerous, or it can be a very, very good thing. It depends on the person who's talking about it.
That's true. That's very true. And again, it's always a tough line to walk between free speech, which I'm a huge advocate of free speech and being able to say what we want to say and what we need to say, and not being silenced or censored about it. But at the same time, I mean, you have to wonder if something's socially acceptable, and then you have to wonder again, well, why should it matter if it's socially acceptable? Is that good? Is that bad? And it's a really kind of tough environment to be in if you're going to be into any form of activism right now. It's a balancing act.
Totally true. I know there's a big, huge saying right now that people are trying to, breastfeeding out in public is not a shameful thing, but a lot of people are embarrassed to see people doing it, but
Mm.
yet they're trying to, we say, hey, it's okay to do it. And so that's right now is like the biggest thing right now is to show, to promote that activism, make sure, people get across that they're going to do regardless.
Hmm.
They don't look at you're seeing a boob, you're seeing a baby being fed.
Yeah, and a lot of people see that instead as, oh, well, that's a breast. That's obviously a sexual organ, and it's not. To be fair, it's not really meant to be that. It's, of course, for a child to feed on. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm treading in some real hot water with these kind of subjects, being not a woman myself, and I don't want to offend anybody specifically in how I say that, but it's like certain biological features are meant for certain things, and just because you see them as something different, it doesn't take away from what they're meant for.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're meant for shouldn't be treated badly because of how you're looking at them.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing as if somebody's, like, if you go to a beach, I mean, of course, there's going to be people in bathing suits and things, and people go there and they go there expecting to be able to hang out on the beach and to swim and to have their bathing suit on and not to be just sat and stared at by people for how they look, whether it's good or bad or whatever. And people on the opposite side say, oh, well, if they didn't want to be stared at, they shouldn't have dressed that way. And it's like, well, who are you to say that? I mean,
mm-hmm.
it's a beach. It's people go there because they're specifically trying to cool off. You go there and you would think everybody would be wearing less clothes because that's what you're there for. And
Exactly.
it just, people don't seem to get the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People are just silly.
That definitely we will all agree on, I think. That is not open for debate.
Yeah, right. All right, take a little break and I'll be right back with more.
Woohoo! Let's Talk About the Music is starting.
What is Let's Talk About the Music, and why are you so excited about it?
It's a podcast with controversial talk and a global mix of music.
Oh, cool. How and where can I listen?
Just go to letstalkaboutthemusic.com and click follow to be sure to get all the info about the bands that are playing and see their music videos. Then click on Spreaker or iTunes to listen live and even chat with other listeners and the host herself.
What day and time is Let's Talk About the Music on?
Every Wednesday night from 8 p.m. to midnight Pacific Standard Time.
I think I'll tune in. Thanks for the info. Join us April 13th on Let's Talk About the Music when the Action Adventure Circus Super Geek League will be talking everything geek. Find out why they are the most unique performance group in the Pacific Northwest. Also on the show co-hosting will be myself, character voice actor and vocal impersonator Ty the Voice Guy. All this and more April 13th starting at 8 p.m. on Let's Talk About the Music.
In the past 12 months, almost 500,000 Australian women reported that they had experienced sexual or physical abuse in their homes. As of September 24th, 2015, 63 women have died. This fact appears at the beginning of the new music video for the song Mayfair by Winter's End of Sydney, Australia. Wednesday, April 20th, on Let's Talk About the Music, we'll talk with the band about domestic